Hey, so can't wait for the next batch of It's Coming Home memes, right? Yeah, it's gonna be all over again. Those unstoppable memes, that propaganda of England winning this World Cup, and yeah, just the sheer irritation, man. I, for one, hate that song, but I guess you can't stop it, given that England have reached the semifinals, and yeah, they have an easy draw. They're the favorites against Croatia, and it looks like they're going to reach the finals, and in the final, well, anything can happen over there. But let's get back to the quarterfinals. They were done and dusted yesterday, all four of them, and now we have the semifinalists: France, Belgium, England, and Croatia. I, for one, don't know how many of you did predict these quarterfinalists, but if you look back now, they were the favorites going into the quarterfinals as well. Except for maybe Belgium. Brazil were the favorites there. Brazil were many people's favorites and choices to lift the World Cup as well. And if we're starting with that match, I must say Brazil played their best game of this World Cup. They were strong, they were confident, they were moving the ball well, they created all sorts of problems for Belgium throughout the 90 minutes, especially in the second half of the game. It was non-stop wave of attack after attack after attack, and Belgium dealt with it pretty well. To be fair to Roberto Martinez and the Belgium team, it was never their intention to go toe for toe with Brazil, or to, match them stride for stride and all of that stuff. That was never the strategy. Martinez even made playing changes in his first team. I think it was the first time he changed his first team, except for that game against England. Dries Mertens and Carrasco were out, and the stronger, more defensive-minded Chadli as well as Marouane Fellaini were in the game. And bringing Fellaini in frees up Kevin De Bruyne. He doesn't have to track back and be responsible for people going in through central midfield. Fellaini as well as Witsel can handle that and free up Kevin De Bruyne to play his natural game, which in return gives rich dividends to Belgium, as you saw in that game. Especially, what a shot from De Bruyne, but let's get to that later. You cannot help but compliment Brazil because they were everything but efficient. They had lots of chances right from the 7th minute onwards when Thiago Silva had a sort of a tap in. Well, it was a tricky shot to play, but he had a tap in front of goal, maybe 4 yards out, and he couldn't convert that. Just a little bit more force into that shot. Yes, it was deflected and it was hard to put it in, but a little more force in that shot, and yeah, it was going in. He hit it straight to keeper. Thibaut Courtois had a string of unbelievable saves throughout the game, even in the last minute, that curling shot from Neymar. In the second half, they had loads and loads of chances from Coutinho, Jesus, as well as Firmino. Firmino had a great chance as well, and even Renato Augusto in the 89 minute, he scored their only goal, but later on he had another opportunity to equalize and he didn't convert that. Uh, so yeah, Brazil are themselves to blame for their loss, and yeah, they cannot blame the referee or anything. Yeah, they had a lot of penalty shouts, but I can count three in which Neymar had clearly dived, and the one which Gabriel Jesus, which should have been a penalty for Gabriel Jesus, wasn't given, even though it was checked by the VAR, and I felt that it was a penalty, like many, but it wasn't given because maybe because of the way he jumped out of the ground and stuff, and that makes the referees think that Brazil are going to dive, and it's their own fault for creating a reputation like that. If not for that reputation, 99% of the time that Jesus penalty would have been given against company, because it was. And yeah, you could say that Brazil are themselves to blame for their downfall. Even in the goals they conceded. The first one, pretty unlucky. A routine corner, a flick on from company, and yeah, it hit the wrong side of Fernandinho. Manchester City players were everywhere. Jesus, company, Fernandinho, Kevin De Bruyne, they were the highlights of that game in Belgium versus Brazil, and 1-0 Belgium right in the first half. Then, after a few string of attacks for Brazil, a counter-attacking opportunity, Lukaku holds up the ball. It doesn't do just that. He swivels, turns, goes past Paulinho, Fernandinho, and then as Paulinho tries to foul him, he passes it to Kevin De Bruyne, who hits a unbelievable shot, a bullet right into the left corner of Brazil's goal. Alisson couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't do anything about both the goals, and he didn't have much else to do other than that in the whole night, in the whole game. And yeah, Courtois was the better keeper on the night. He made a string of fantastic saves, 9 saves in total, and they were really tough saves to the corners and diving saves. So he did a fantastic job in the game. Also, credit to Roberto Martinez that he set his side up for the counter attack. He knew that Brazil's strengths lie in open play. They were going to be the better team if they went toe to toe. So he set his team up to be defensively strong. At one point in the game, when Brazil were mounting a series of attacks in the second half, he brought on Vermaelen to make it a string of complete wall of 4 defenders for Belgium. 4 terrific world-class central defenders in company Vermaelen, Alderweireld and Jan Vertonghen. So it was great to see Martinez getting the tactics right as well as uh, the Belgium team executing them to perfection. Eden Hazard in the second half was unbelievable. He was the only man running endlessly, tirelessly for Belgium, always getting the ball in the middle of his half and running, going past Brazilian defenders and taking the ball into their half, winning free kicks. Especially in the last 20 minutes, he was unbelievable to watch for Belgium. And given the tactics, given that they planned to suffer through Brazil's pressure, and given that they executed that plan to perfection, Belgium, I guess, did deserve to go through in that quarterfinal against Brazil. As for Brazil, commiserations, at least they had a better loss, as in they gave everything this time and not lose 7-1. This time they could hold their heads high and say that we gave our everything in this match, and if we go out to a better team on the day. Maybe not even the better team on the day, just the team that suffered better and were more clinical than us. That's all. That was the difference. And yeah, this time Brazilian players won't be, there won't be angry mobs of people waiting for the Brazilian players in Brazil. At least we hope so. In the games of France versus Uruguay as well as England versus Sweden, it was as expected. The stronger team, the team with more firepower, the team which was expected to win, those teams won. France just were too strong for Uruguay, especially since Cavani was injured. And yeah, an unbelievable mistake by Muslera always helps. It was a knuckleball from Griezmann and the ball did swirl in the air, but there's no excuse for Muslera not grabbing it, saving it. He tried to parry it and yeah, it hit his hand and went back in the net. There was a second goal for France earlier as well. Griezmann was on the show, good free kick, and for once throughout the year, I think Uruguay's defense went to sleep in a set piece, and Varane had a free header in the front, and yeah, he scored through a free kick. So that was great for France and great for Antoine Griezmann as well as Rafael Varane. They didn't even have to suffer much. France, they controlled the game pretty well, and Uruguay did have a few chances, but they were easily negotiated by France, and the better team went into semi-finals. So it's France versus Belgium. In the England versus Sweden game, again the tale of the better team winning. England, similar to France, were in the first goal clinical from a set piece. Corners, their strong suit. They always gather together and then scatter throughout the penalty box. And all the teams that they have faced up till now, teams like Sweden as well as Colombia, are usually well organized and they couldn't handle the tactic England applied through the corners. And yeah, that was the first goal for Harry Maguire in England's game. Then the second goal who came for Dele Alli in the second half with a great open play opportunity. Lingard, who has been terrific in carrying the ball from defense to attack, was involved very much so in this goal with a good chipped cross. And yeah, in the far post again, unlikely a Sweden defense went to sleep, and Dele Alli had a great opportunity to head the ball in the back of nets, and so it did. England as well in the semi-finals. Although in the second half, Pickford had to make 2 or 3 fantastic saves from especially from Berg, and yeah, he stood up to the mark as well. And now, given that all the boxes are ticking for England, their fans are excited. The, there are fans spread throughout the world, especially from Premier League fans who support England at these major events, and so the all the thing of it's coming home, football's coming home, the World Cup's coming home. These memes are gaining momentum, and you can see them everywhere right now, especially on social media. On to the last game. Man, Croatia have had it tough, real tough. Both these teams, Russia as well as Croatia, played in the quarterfinals, played in the round of 16, and they had to go through the penalties to reach where they are. Russia had beaten already a major player in Spain. Croatia, on their part, should have won earlier against Denmark but couldn't break through their defense. They couldn't do that against Russia either, although they could say that in the 120 minutes they scored 2 goals. So did Russia. And the highlight of the game was Cherishev's goal. Unbelievable shot, even better than De Bruyne's, maybe even a contender for the goal of tournament. That's how good that shot was. Out of nowhere, a complete bullet, surprising everyone. Subasic had no chance. Subasic, who has been phenomenal for Croatia, couldn't even react to it. That's how good that shot was from Cheryshev. But all in all, Croatia equalized quickly. Then in the 110 minute or so, Vida had a great opportunity. He scored later on in the dying seconds, especially the Russian coach who was motivating all the crowd to get behind his team. The Russian crowd, phenomenal, if you know what I'm talking about. And it was unbelievable to see the entire Russian crowd get back and support their team and eke out a second goal from them. Everyone was tired. All the players were tired. Don't get me wrong at that point. Especially the Croatian players, there were cramps everywhere. Subasic, Brozovic, Mandzukic, except for Modric, everyone was Modric as well as Lovren. Everyone was cramping in that team. Maybe even Vida. By the way, for that Vida's goal, Russia have complained to FIFA. If he doesn't have an IC in his name, he shouldn't be a Croatian player. He shouldn't be a Croatian national. How can he score? That goal shouldn't count. But still, Vida's goal counts, and it was 2-1. And at the end, just at the end, a set piece for a handball, and Russia put the free kick right where they want to, and a good header from Fernandez, and it was 2-2 penalties. What unbelievable penalties, man. Smaller with a very tired looking penalty. So was Fernandez. On the other hand, Akinfe was trying to keep his. By the way, Smolov's penalty was saved. It was a chip penalty, and Fernandez, he just he scuffed his shot and hit it wide. By the way, on the other hand, now Akinfe was trying everything to keep Russia in the game. He dived and saved the penalty of Kovacic in the bottom left corner, and it was an unbelievable save. And you think he couldn't do any better? He almost did. Another bottom right corner penalty from Modric, and it hit. Akinfeev dived perfectly. It hit his hand, and man, it was so close. It hit the pole, jumped back in the net somehow by hitting the other side of the pole, and yeah, that was the difference between the two teams. In the end, Rakitic scored the final penalty, and Croatia was the last team in the semifinals. Now, for the finals, it's prediction time, man. It could either be Belgium versus Croatia, and it could be a new World Cup winner, or France versus England, and there would be no new World Cup winners. But yeah, it's still exciting. All four teams are looking great. France and England are favorites in their matches, given that the amount of energy Belgium and Croatia have expanded in the earlier rounds. Belgium against Japan and Brazil, Croatia against Denmark and Russia. The amount of energy they have expanded just gives France and England the edge to reach the final. Let's see what happens. Anything's possible in this World Cup. So let's stick around and see what the World Cup conjures up for the final. It's gonna be exciting. Do subscribe to my channel for more such videos. Do like, share, and comment, you guys. And yeah, see you around.